Welcome in, do a special conversation right here on Louisiana Loaded. As always, from the garage, make sure and follow us on social media and on YouTube. And we have two special guests inside of the garage today, two of our favorites, two of South Louisiana's favorites, and two good friends of ours who are back in town to promote an event coming up with the Joe Burrow Foundation on Friday, May 8th at Topgolf, and we'll talk all about it. But it is Robin and Jimmy Burrow. It's great to see you guys. Great. Welcome back to Baton Rouge.
Thank you. We're very happy to be here.
Absolutely. This all started in a Heisman Trophy acceptance speech, right? I mean, like when you think about the origin of the Joe Burrow Foundation, and you're obviously a teacher in your background. Could you imagine that it would have grown to the size and affect as many people as it has here?
Yeah, no. Joe's Heisman speech was so emotional, and it moved so many people at that point to give to the food bank or the food pantry in Southeast Ohio in Athens County. And really that night is when we figured out that Joe had a platform that could make a difference, when he really realized the scope of that difference that he could make. And so then a couple of years later, we launched the foundation, and Baton Rouge is absolutely 100% one of the places that Joe wants to give back to, because without LSU football and the community of Baton Rouge, Joe wouldn't be who he is today.
Sure.
Right.
Coach, the second annual event coming up here in Baton Rouge at Topgolf. Last year was a fantastic turnout. Tell me what the expectation is coming up on May 8th.
Yeah, it's a fun event. A lot of different people are there. We try to get some of Joe's teammates, former coaches, and it's at Topgolf. We've added a band this year afterwards. So last year people didn't really want to leave when it was over.
That's right. Got to keep them there.
We didn't have anything, and now we have a band, so that's going to be fun. But Topgolf, it's just an alternative to not having a 18-hole golf course thing, and so it's all good. We had a good time last year, raised a lot of money, and like Robin said, this is an important area for Joe and us as a family, and we like to come back. Sure. It's a major part of what we do with the foundation.
JoeBurrow.org is JoeBurrowFoundation.org.
JoeBurrow.org.
JoeBurrow.org to find out more information about the foundation and the events coming up. There's a golf tournament in Cincinnati, there's an event down here in Baton Rouge, and there's some other events that you can learn about. How much does this mean to him? How much does he focus and spend his time with the foundation?
Well, right now he's very focused on still football.
Sure.
He definitely is involved in all of the major decisions that happen and aware of all of the things that we're doing in programming and with the fundraising events. But he's 100% focused on football for sure. So he has his hand in it, but keeping his focus where it needs to be still right now. Yeah.
Obviously, with the way that we watch him, love him, you can feel his frustration. Where is he mentally on the football front because of how much it means to him?
Once he got back from the turf toe injury, he's been good. He's very healthy. He says he's gotten bigger, stronger, and faster, and that's what he tries to do in the off season. So he's really looking forward to it. He gets somewhat bored in the off season. That's why you saw him in the flag football game.
Yeah.
But he looked great.
He looked good,
like
but it's
until he got tackled in the open
makes us kind of nervous and all that.
I got to imagine.
It's just something to keep his competitive spirits going during the course of the off season. So
one thing that can't be argued is that when he has been healthy over the last 3 years, he has played as the best player in football. I mean, he has looked as if he's the best quarterback in the game. Well,
the statistics pretty much back that up, and we're able to win a lot of games when he's healthy. Jamar's there as always, and that connection is never ending. So yes, if he's healthy, we had some pieces in the last few weeks on defense. Of course, being a defensive coach, that's as everybody knows important, and we're gonna be better on defense this year and better as a team, and hopefully keep Joe healthy.
Obviously, your background being defensive, you played for Monty Kiffin.
Yep.
And he meant a ton to you as far as your career went in coaching. I know that he was a mentor that you stayed in close contact with. Now Lane is here coaching the program. How has that all kind of worked for you?
Well, it's great to have him here in LSU. I kept in touch with his dad for years until he passed away a year or so ago. He's one of the reasons I wanted to be a coach, because I admired him so much when he was our defensive coordinator at Nebraska. His energy, his passion as a coach, and kind of made me want to follow in his footsteps. So I never got to coach with him, but spent a lot of time with him on the phone. And he came for a visit to Ohio University for a few days, and definitely was an important mentor for me. And yesterday, visiting with Lane a little, we found kind of knew but hadn't heard for sure. But Lane was born in Lincoln during the time that his dad was coaching there, and just an innovator of the Tampa 2. And that might have been one of my last calls ever as Tampa 2 in a bowl game in my last day on the job. So we go back a long way. Don't know Lane very well, but certainly followed him along his career path to get to here. So national championship in the future.
Had a great conversation with the Prince, Derek Pedamsky. Came and sat in that chair last week, and we got to storytelling about 2019, and it's just incredible how magical that season was. Derek tells stories about how he's now working for agencies, so he's traveling around to programs around the country, and everybody, no matter where he goes, it all goes back to 19 and how and what and everything to it. Mm-hmm. You guys were main characters on that team and in the program at that time. Yeah. What does that year mean to you? Even that time, Miss Robin, because I think people forget in 2018 you didn't miss a game. He was still coaching.
True.
That's right. And he had he came for the senior season, and it was a magical run, but you didn't miss a moment at LSU while he was here.
And I'm so glad that I didn't. Because, I think that experiencing 2018, which was great. I mean,
it really was.
There were so many great wins, also some very tough losses that year, but it made me appreciate 2019 all the more. And having Jimmy there at every single game that year was especially wonderful. And, it really truly was just magic. It just kept building and building and building, and we kept thinking something's going to go wrong. Yeah, right. But nothing went wrong.
I know, we had too many good players for anything to go wrong.
It was crazy, right, Coach? I mean, the further you get away, you spent 40 plus years around college football, and you played as well, so you know it. For that to come together and for that to happen like that, I mean, that is.
I mean, it's, and I think I've probably mentioned before, maybe even on your show, that it's the greatest college football team of all time. Yes, we're biased, but you can just look at that year and who we played and the success, and then follow those individuals into the NFL, and it's some of the best players now in the National Football League, and Joe Brady and Coach Ensminger and Coach O and Dave Aranda. I mean, it was kind of a superstar of coaches also. So it all added up to what you saw there, 15-0. And I'd only seen 3 games in 2018, and none of them were at Tiger Stadium. So that had a lot to do with when we were talking as a family. I mean, I may not have ever seen Joe play at Tiger Stadium if I'd have kept coaching. So I said, that's not happening. This is it. So the Frisco Bowl down in Dallas, Fort Worth was my last game, and then we haven't missed a game since. When Joe's healthy and playing. COVID, they didn't let us go to every game, but pretty much I guess we have been to every home and away game since I retired in 2018. So it's
Life
great.
is too short. You can't miss that.
Miss the big moments.
That's right.
I will forever see you dancing in the aisles, you grabbing Danny with the horns
still
down
comes up
3rd and 17, baby. One of the great scenes of 2019.
Yeah, we were just talking with Emily and Shay last night, Dixon, about the horns down. We were actually with Tom Herman, who's in town, and he was the coach at Texas.
Right.
And he's the one that recruited Joe. And I kind of felt bad when it went viral.
Joe to Ohio State.
So I texted him. I said, "Hey, that wasn't anything personal, but maybe we can reinvent that for." I think Texas comes to town this
they
year.
do.
So
Yep.
reenact that.
That's right. That's right. People forget that was one of the great games of that season.
Yeah.
I mean, you got into a lot of
17.
blowouts, but I mean, that was the whole game was back and forth, back and forth. I mean,
Joe gave him the pageant wave. Also
That's right.
in the stands.
That's right.
So
that's where they blew the cannon through his jersey that morning. I mean, still to this day, I don't think I've ever seen anything.
That was not appropriate.
That wasn't
Not
cool.
at all.
That wasn't cool.
Yeah,
And they were getting
they
off
kinda
with it. They
got-
loved it.
Got
They
us
did.
riled up, and I think
Last
Joe
laugh,
even
though.
knew that, even though it was game day. Somehow he knew that going into the game. Maybe it was on TV in the locker room or the hotel. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he had the
Anyway,
last laugh behind the bench.
it was so hot.
Yeah,
and
that was
Exactly.
the pageant wave.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It was hot, and the fans, tickets they gave us. I mean, we were in like the
Oh, they
upper
always
deck
do
and
that.
stuff.
So
Well,
high
that's
up
where they
in
put the
corner.
band.
Yeah.
Put the
The
band
band
in the
was up
clouds.
there.
Right,
Yeah.
right next to him.
I expect LSU to repay that come November.
that'd be good.
Good chance.
We got a little
would
better
be-
seats
yeah.
these days than that day, but
Well, away teams tend to do that in general, I would say, but
Yeah, that was
Didn't-
it was
That
too
was a little
much.
much.
And it was September, if I remember. It was
it was
it
hot.
was
so
it was
hot.
so hot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
um
just the opponents that we played. I mean, so many in the top 10, and the SEC schedule, and we got better every game. As
Every
a
game.
coach,
Yep.
it's hard to get your team to really improve every day, especially a group like that. But literally, we were at our best later in the season
That's
and in
right.
the playoffs. So that was amazing.
I still think the Oklahoma game may be the most dominant game I think I've ever seen LSU football play. I mean, that
Yeah,
game
it was
something.
it was over at halftime, and we were pretty happy.
Yeah. The 3rd and 17 play, because I think now people look at Joe Burrow and he's one of the most popular, best quarterbacks on the planet and think that it's always been like that. Going into his senior year, he was a late round draft pick kind of setup, right? I remember leaving that night, and 3rd and 17 kind of put him into the conversation of maybe somebody to keep an eye on. Was
Yeah.
that the moment where you kind of thought,
I think for most all of us, that play was amazing. I mean, he rolled and
yeah, he stepped up.
and then all of a sudden kind of threw, the way I remember it, kind of back across to the corner to Jamar.
To Justin.
Justin.
Yeah, coming across the middle.
And
Yeah.
if they hadn't connected on that, the game was going the other way.
I agree.
Right.
Yeah, they had
so
momentum. Matthew McConaughey was.
Yeah.
It was
Pretty
great
fired
to
up on
see
the
him,
sidelines.
step up in that moment and make a huge play.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, okay, here we go. Let's go, Tigers.
Yeah, this is it.
Here we go.
I think
It's
Herb Street
happening.
said it best right there. This isn't your old LSU. Like old LSU would have just lined up, ran it,
Yeah.
trusted the defense, and said, "Let's cross our fingers and hope we get out of here."
Yeah.
Don't
right?
give up,
You
right?
don't. I mean, like you never had an offense or a quarterback that you said, "Hey, man, win this thing."
Yeah, I think
Let's go.
I've heard Coach O talk about, that leading up to that series, and Coach Ensminger said, we can't slow down now. We got to keep going. And like you said, maybe in the past it was try to run out the clock and let the defense take over. But at that point we were much more of an offensive team. Coach Aranda did a great job, and we certainly got better and better on defense. But that particular day, we needed to score points, and so we kept the foot on the accelerator.
Can you talk about the angle of being the parents of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase to go watch that for so long? I mean, people forget Joe's first touchdown pass at LSU was to Jamar in Miami, in the Miami game in 18.
Yeah.
Then they have the special season in 19.
Yeah.
And then they're drafted in the same place, and they don't miss a beat. Like, I mean, they've been the best connection for 7 years, and now they continue to do it as their parents, going to the game, watching that every week, and those being your sons. How cool is that?
It's very cool,
I'd
and I
imagine.
think that it's amazing to see their relationship continue to grow and build and also change at the same time, because the NFL is very different than college ball, but they have that connection. They can can't read each other's minds, certainly, but it sure feels like it. Sure feels like they know this little hitch in my hip means this. And
eye contact.
Subtle things, right?
Yeah.
And that whole team was so close. And, Jamar and Joe are great friends on the field and off the field. Justin Jefferson, I mean, they can be with him in the off season. And
Thaddeus Moss was at Topgolf last year.
Yeah.
He's been to
pick up with.
He was at a game with us this year, and Clyde Edwards. Those are lifetime close friends to Joe, and that whole team was like that, and that was a big part of their success. And we were with Jamar's dad once after a game, and they'd had a great game in the NFL, and he said, we're going to be doing this for the next 10 years. And I'm thinking, that's crazy.
It really
that
is.
could actually
happen
for another 10 years.
But what's crazier, Coach, is how fast it goes by.
Yeah.
And I think Joe recognized that. He looked up one day and he was like, I just finished year 4 or 5. And he was like, I was just dreaming about this in my high school bedroom. It feels like yesterday, and here I am in the middle of my almost career.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I think that that just comes with age.
Mm-hmm.
We all start to have a different perspective as we get older. Some of us more older than others, but
sure.
I think Joe's definitely starting to understand that football is a fun game, but it's also a business.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And there is going to eventually be an end to it, even though the time is going, it's going faster than any of us want it to.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Even from an outsider watching, you wish it would kind of slow down and give you more days.
29 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's I think you see as a player, it's a business, and some of your friends are getting cut or not re-signed, and so it kind of puts everything in perspective. And then all of a sudden you're in. I think he's going into his 7th year, and so 2019 will always be in everybody's mind. But it was a time ago now, a long time ago.
Yeah.
So
It's hard to believe it was that long ago.
It really is.
but that's why for us the foundation is still so important, just because we're able to. Joe's able to give back to Baton Rouge. We have our own separate advisory board here, because if somebody donates to Joe Burrow Foundation in Louisiana, the money stays here, and we have a separate board in Ohio. So, that's again back to Joe and his feelings of all the people in this area and what it means to Joe and us as a family.
You dedicated your life to education. I know
sir.
that you retired from that over the last couple of years and really kind of spearheaded a lot of what's going on here. What's the future of the foundation?
Well, we certainly want to continue to focus on food insecurity and youth mental health. And in the area of mental health, we're trying to get in to talk to elementary age kids and teach them that they have control over some of the decisions in their lives, including sleep and exercise, putting their devices down, eating right, and then being in control of their emotions. So teaching them some self-regulation skills, those kinds of things. And we certainly want to continue to expand our World Teen Mental Wellness Day, which is we give grants to middle school and high school age kids for student-led mental wellness activities. So some schools choose to do like a mental wellness day and have a health and wellness fair kind of thing. Others have used the money to provide journals for their students, health and wellness fairs, those kinds of things. And then we've worked with Our Lady of the Lake here in Baton Rouge to offer them up a program called the Burrow Blueprint. It's developed from Nationwide Children's Hospital up in Columbus, Ohio, providing instructional modules for nurse practitioners in school-based clinics to help expand their knowledge about primary care mental health. So we want to continue to grow all three of those things.
How powerful.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing.
I didn't know the depth of it.
Yeah.
I always thought it was food bank, and I didn't know
And that is part of it.
You sure?
Certainly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And last year we gave backpacks at the beginning of the year. I think here in Baton Rouge there has always been an initiative. Is it Fill the Bus? I think
Yes,
here.
Fill the Bus.
Yeah, that's it.
And I think last year there was some kind of a hiccup with that program to begin with. And so we wanted to make sure kids had school supplies in their hands before school started so they could walk in with their backpacks. So we came in and tried to fill that gap. And I think the Fill the Bus event eventually happened a little bit after the school year started, which is wonderful. It takes everybody in the community to make everything happen and get the wheels turning. But we're trying to just figure out what communities need, what the kids need, what families need, and fill those gaps where we can.
Wow.
Incredible. JoeBurrow.org, Friday, May 8th, Topgolf. There's still a couple of bays that are available if you want to jump in. It's an incredible event. I was there last year, looking forward to it coming up this year. You still have an opportunity to get involved. JoeBurrow.org is where you can learn more information. All right, last one. My final rant on my show last year was about retiring 9 and building the statue. I have not heard any of this. Am I putting y'all in a bad spot? Because Verge called me and he said, Jordy, I need you to chill on this for right now. Because now I know as long as Louis is there, Louis Bourgeois, nobody's going to wear 9. And that's a beautiful thing.
We agree.
Have we heard anything? Is there anything that we can report?
We do not have an update on that.
No, it's
we're hoping for the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Well, you have a voice. To somebody that can wave the flag.
and it is something important to our family, but we'll let it play out.
Sure.
Let the course run its way, and so we'll see. But we feel like Verge or whoever's eventually responsible will do the right thing.
And I believe that to be true as well. I think that they know what the right thing is, and that
Heisman Trophy winner, national champion.
Set every record, number one
I
pick.
feel like-
We could keep going. We could keep going. I mean, and look, from a Baton Rouge citizen that has nothing to do with LSU, I apologize because I think that it should be done, but I expect it to be done as somebody who is passionate about the university, the program, and I think the people in power understand how much it means to not only the LSU football fans, but really the community, because he bled over. He wasn't just a player. He was somebody that touched the community, that if you really weren't a football fan, you knew who he was.
Well, and the community touched him too.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
And that's how
it was a mutual love for sure. And we believe that LSU, the powers that be, will do the right thing, and whatever that ends up being. We love Baton Rouge, we love LSU, and we will support them.
And that's part of the reason the foundation, Joe's foundation, is so successful here, is because of the love that the people in Baton Rouge and the fans have for Joe, and vice versa. And you can see on my shirt here, he said once upon a time in an interview, he said everybody has a responsibility to do good, and the people of Baton Rouge are doing good with Joe's foundation, and the foundation is doing good with the communities and the people here in Baton Rouge.
I know 7 years later, off of Highland Road, you still cannot put Burrow Lane sign up because it gets stolen the first night. Like, every time, like the city commission was like, that's it, we're done. We've made 25 of them. We can't keep putting Burrow Lane up because they keep stealing the road sign. So I think they painted
I did not know that.
on the road because they kept stealing the sign. So it give you an indication of how much he's beloved around here. I mean, it's very powerful.
He still loves Baton Rouge, and so do we. We look for every excuse in the book to come down. So
great.
There you go.
yeah,
The home schedule is amazing this year.
It's a
we
special
can't
one.
wait for the NFL schedule to come out so we can
Yeah,
figure
we
out
look
our
at
schedule
it.
to come here.
Flip-flop.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Last time Jamar and Joe were in the Superdome, they ate the place up.
Yes, they did.
Killed them.
Yeah, that's one of our favorites.
That was amazing.
I mean, when he hits Jamar on that last pass, the seal,
right.
there was a quiet
There was.
applause from really the whole stadium.
It was
even though
incredible. It was
kinda-
amazing to see that.
Yeah.
It's great to see y'all.
Great to see you.
Thank you as always for stopping in. And we will see y'all Friday, May 8th
Okay,
at
thanks a lot.
Topgolf, Joe Burrow Foundation, joeburrow.org. We'll be back with more Louisiana Loaded.